So I'm going to take you guys on a little journey here, a little story, and in the end, hopefully we'll answer the burning question on why do you get butterflies when you're nervous. So this is where it all started. In 2012, here's a lovely photo of me. I used to have really bad acne, and I took an antibiotic to treat the acne, amoxicillin. And I took this antibiotic off and on for around 4 years. And while it was doing absolute wonders for my face, it was doing horrible things behind the scenes. I started feeling a little sick and a little down, a little weird around this time, and I went to Costa Rica in January of 2016. And when I was in Costa Rica, I ate some food at a market, and when I was having time in my life, like swimming underneath the ocean in absolutely beautiful warm waters. And when I came back from Costa Rica, it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, but I actually had E. coli. And E. coli, and honestly, isn't that big of a deal. What is a big deal is I also found out I had Clostridium difficile, which is 14,000 deaths a year. C. difficile, basically what happens is if you take a lot of antibiotics, it's like a super bug. It's a little bit antibiotic resistant, and it allows the C. difficile to basically proliferate in your gut. So what drives our whole entire gut is 100 trillion bacteria, and that allows everything to be digested. And during this time in my life, I was eating tons of meat. That's like who I was during this time. Tons of processed foods. And when my whole gut was off because of this, it was just like a pretty dark time in my life. I had no control. And January 25th rolled around, and I had taken 4 years of amoxicillin antibiotic. I'd taken 1 dose for E. coli, and I'd actually taken 3 doses of an even harder antibiotic to treat C. difficile. I had no bacteria in my body. Like, I had no immune system. It was bad. So March 1st rolls around, and I lost 30 pounds. So imagine me 30 pounds less. Like, there's not much left, okay? And it was a dark time. I couldn't sleep at night. I like struggled a little bit, like a little bit of depression and sadness. It's like when you can't eat anything, everything I was eating was just going right through me. And I was like sick of this. I was like, I need to find some answers out. So I kept going to the doctor over and over and over again. And they were like, C. difficile is gone, your thyroids are good, your liver is fine, nothing of autoimmune or metabolism. We have no idea why you're still losing weight, can't eat, and have diarrhea 15 times a day. Just be patient, everything's going to work out. And that like frustrated the heck out of me. And I was like, I need to start figuring out some answers here. And that's when I saw a nutritionist and recommended this FODMAP diet. And as you can see, there's protein and dairy on there, but protein and dairy is even harder to digest. So I started eating these grains and lots of things on here. And immediately once I made this switch, my brain just like flipped. And I was eating so much food. I'm from eating nothing to just like all day, every day I was eating this type of food. I did that for 3 months. I didn't have any meat. May 28th rolled around 2016. And I was like, all right, there has to be something to this. I feel great. I was back skiing. I was back doing what I love. I was going to the Beartooth, like this photo was taken. And it was like kind of like a total polar flip from March to May. And during this time, I did a lot of research. This is what I learned. That stop eating processed foods and become a vegetarian so I can live longer, be healthier, be happier. And then the like see all is save the planet. And I was forced to make this change to be healthier and happier. And I just want to like encourage lots of other people to follow in this pathway. So the science is in, and I read a ton of literature. Basically, the gut is your second brain. And it's a focal point of human energy. It's a seat of your emotions, and mistreatment is responsible for many diseases of today. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity. This is all coming from our second brain, like that photo. So live longer. Loma Linda, California. It's where people live the longest in the United States. It's 60 miles east of Los Angeles, and people are like, why do they live long? It's not the environment. It's right outside of LA. And they're not living long because it's like a super diverse gene pool. People who are living long because they're vegetarians and they have a strong family connection, and they just overall they love life. They're positive. This is the definitive link. There's a doctor there. He's 91 years old, and he's still performing open heart surgeries, okay? And he's from Loma Linda, and he drives to LA to perform these surgeries. And for 50 years, he recorded the status of veins of his patients. And what he found out was that people who are vegetarians, they have healthier veins. Crazy. And he's 91. Okay, be happier. 90% of serotonin receptors are in the gut, which is absolutely insane. So if your gut's all out of line, it totally makes perfect sense why your mood, why you're irritable, like why you're all thrown off in general, is because serotonin drives your happiness and everything that's up there. And then save the planet. A plant-based diet cuts your carbon footprint by 50%. The meat and dairy industry use 1/3 of Earth's fresh water. Animal agriculture is the leading cause of species extinction due to habitat loss. And 1/2-pound hamburger equals 2 months of showering. So if you say no to one hamburger, that's 2 months of showering, okay? Say no to meat. 40% all of our country is used for food. Of that 47%, 70% is for cattle, and only 1% is actually for fruits and vegetables. 1.5 acres of land can produce 37 pounds of plant-based foods compared to 375 pounds of meat. That ratio is like staggering. So say no to meat, lower your footprint. And then palm oil. So palm oil, basically, they burn whole swaths of forests in Indonesia, and forest fires emitted there were more carbon daily than the entire U.S. economy. What does everything over there have in common? It's processed food. So take a chunk out of this palm oil pie, stop eating processed foods. It's beautiful. And so become a vegetarian, though, it's like you can't ask anyone to do anything against their own self-interest. The only way you can make a lifestyle change is to ground it in selfish reasoning. I love hamburgers. Am I just going to say no to this across my whole life to save the planet? Like, no, that's ridiculous. I'm going to break that all the time. I say no to this to live longer, be healthier, and be happier. And then to totally answer the question of why do you get butterflies when you're nervous is, why does my stomach have butterflies with like 60 people looking at me right now? It's because my brain is telling it that this is happening. So without this brain-body connection, then it wouldn't know. So why do you get butterflies when you're nervous is because you have this mind-body connection. And thank you.